Hi, I'm Cindy Cross from Amber Ridge at Apsley, and today I'd love to tell you all about zucchinis. They're very easy to grow and can sometimes grow very, very big. There's many different varieties and lots of lovely colours and shapes. If you haven't grown zucchini before, it might seem hard to believe that something this big can grow into something this big and bigger in a matter of days, but it's very, very true. This is very delicate and this is still edible, so don't throw these out if you think they get too big. A great test is to see if your fingernail will pierce into the skin of the zucchini easily, and if it does, it's still very tender and very tasty. Many of you may not have seen some heirloom varieties of zucchinis that you can grow. These are called ball zucchinis, and they taste exactly the same as a normal zucchini. Just the colour is different and they have a different kind of use. These are great for stuffing and making frittatas out of, and that's what I'm going to show you soon. The way I pick zucchinis is quite simple. It saves you bringing out secateurs into the garden. You just grab the zucchini at the furthest end and use the weight of it to twist. See you in the kitchen. Today I'd love to show you how to make a frittata in an heirloom zucchini. It's a great use for one of these things, and what I've done is I've chopped it in half. That was it originally. Cut it in half and I've scooped out the seeds. I've also cut a little slice off the back so that it sits nice and flat on the tray. Very important, we don't want it wobbling. So first we're going to crack some eggs in a bowl and get them going. I love frittatas. It's a great way of using up what you've got in the garden. I'm going to put some tomatoes in mine today because that's seasonal and zucchinis and tomatoes seem to be hand in hand. 7 eggs will be fine. So what we're going to add is some cream. That was exactly 1/4 cup, and some salt and pepper. It's really important to season your eggs because they'll be quite bland if you just bake them on their own. That's salt and pepper done. Now we're going to whisk them. Now I've seen people whisk a quiche or frittata till it's absolutely one smooth consistency, and that's not really the way you should do it. If you want silky set consistency when you bake it, this is how you do it. So we're just breaking it up enough, and you can still see some cream, some egg white and egg yolk, and that's ready to pour into the mould, which in today's case is half a zucchini. Now for the embellishments. You could just about add anything from the garden into here right now. You could add roast pumpkin, you could add leftover potato. It's absolutely amazing with lots of vegetables. Tomatoes are in season, and that's what I'm going to add. Not too much or it's going to overflow like it just did. And then we're going to put some feta on top. That goes into a preheated 180-degree oven, and it's going to take about 25 minutes. That zucchini's tender, the quiche is cooked, same time, marvellous, healthy. It's going to burn. Make that any day. The next dish I want to show you is how to make something out of this great big zucchini. And most people would be quite used to stuffing a zucchini. That's a good old-fashioned dish you can do. But I've come up with something quite unusual, and it looks amazing on the plate. We're going to cut large chunks out of the zucchini. Big fat discs. About 1 inch wide, which is about 2.5 centimetres. And I'm going to cut, let's do 4 for today's purposes. This feeds a crowd, great as a side dish. Next we're going to get a cookie cutter, and because of the size of it, it's actually grown to the point where the middle is quite fibrous and seedy and not enjoyable at all. Now my worst thing is I can never get it in the middle, so I'm gonna be very good. So we use the cookie cutter to cut it out. There's a great big hole in the middle. A hole in the middle, you ask? Well, what are you going to do with the hole in the middle? The hole in the middle is a great idea to put things in. Salad. I'm going to do a zucchini, tomato and onion drunken fry up. And the reason for this is you saw how many zucchinis I picked, and I still need ways of using them. That's why there's zucchini in it. So here we have 4 bracelets. We're going to put them on the grill. Now, I like the grill with lines because I think it's attractive. I'm going to pop them on. I'm going to drizzle with some olive oil, and this is going to help create the griddle marks. We're also going to salt and pepper. You could absolutely do an Asian version of this by putting in some ginger at this stage on the very top. The good thing about this recipe is in the time it takes for that zucchini to grill, which would be about 10 or 12 minutes, we can get this fry up going. Now we've got zucchini, we've got some tomato, we've got garlic, and we've got onion. First of all, I'm going to chop the onion, which obviously means I don't want to cry. This is the only way I've found, is these sexy goggles. Right, sexy goggles on. Try and contain yourself. Here we go. Now this onion was only just picked from the garden, so it's even stronger than one you would buy from the shop. When you're chopping an onion, it's really important to have a sharp knife, because if you want thin slices, and I really want this to cook quite quickly, the onion's probably going to take the longest. So using the fattest part of the blade, which is the strongest part and the safest part, you just make little slivers across the length of it. The reason I cut the onion in the half the way I did is because when you get to the end of the onion, you can flip it over and you've still got lovely slivers. I'm just going to pop this in the pan. This pan is not on yet, it's going to be on in a minute. Next is the garlic. We grew this ourselves. We're on 5th generation garlic now. It tastes amazing. Rather than peeling and chopping the garlic, I've got a really great trick of how to get garlic in the pan nice and easy. Without peeling it, holding onto the end that was the root, hold it down and you mince it in like so. Next is the zucchini. And here's where you can be interesting. If you grow yellow zucchini or the mottled zucchini or the dark green one, you can use all of the mixes and it's really quite lovely. This is so tender, even for the size of it, it's cutting like butter. But like an apple, I want to cut round the worst part of the core of this variety. And then I'm just going to do, it's nothing fancy, just cutting across ways. Let's cut some of this ball zucchini, a bit like an apple again. We just want the outside, we don't want the seedy inside bit. Now, because these tomatoes are so ripe, they're so perfect, I'm not actually going to cook them very much. I'm only going to add them right at the end, and you'll get maximum flavour because of that. They won't cook to mush either. The last things we need to add is some good quality olive oil. I don't even bother with anything else because life's too short. And everything else we've picked here, we've grown with love, and it deserves it. Good lot of pepper. Good lot of salt. Let's remember zucchini can be bland if you don't season it properly. And don't forget we've got the garlic in there. Let's go and fry it up. So once your zucchini and onions are cooked pretty good, give them a bit of a toss around the pan or stir them with a spoon. Time to add some thyme. Thyme works really well with zucchini because it's really powerful. It's a cooking herb. This is one you can get some high heat on, and it works really well. Smell the garlic, this smells amazing. And I like to over caramelise. I like to see brown on my onions. I find an under brown onion is tasteless, and I really want that caramelisation. Now we're going to add the tomatoes, all nicely chopped. One last look around. Okay, now my favourite part. We'll grab a zucchini. Look at the colour on that. It's kept its shape, and I'll just test it with a fork to see. Tender. Look at that. The size of that zucchini, and it's still tender. Now we're going to add some of this to the middle. And we are in gourmet heaven. Look at this. One big zucchini saved from the compost. And let's just make it look extra special. This is worth an extra $5 on the plate. So there you have it, my grilled zucchini rounds with drunken fryer. Let's have a taste of my favourite part. So this probably burn